Hey guys, I'm back. So today I wanted to make a video on resources where you can learn more about Monero um, beyond YouTube. YouTube honestly is a pretty bad source to get information on Monero with because there's really mostly just a bunch of videos talking about price and that's about it. There are a few YouTube channels that I will go over in this video, but you really need to get off YouTube and go to some other places if you want to really learn more about the inner workings of Monero, and that's what I'm going to go over in this video. So the first resource that I would recommend is the Monero subreddit. This is probably obvious to some of you guys, but for those who aren't aware, Monero has its own dedicated subreddit with 200,000 members, and this isn't just good for new posts that you see on the front page here. It's actually good for posts in the past. You can actually search Reddit subreddits, and you can see posts in the past. If you have a certain question about a certain thing or something like that, most likely it's been posted before and commented on before, and you can just search for it and find it. Alright, so the second one I want to go over is Monero Talk. I have talked about this in some of my earlier videos, but Monero Talk basically just interviews different members of the Monero community and the wider cryptocurrency community in general. He's had Howard Chu on. He was one of the main creators of RandomX, Arctic Mine. He's a core contributor. He's had Lee Claggett on. He's had, I believe this is a guy from Bisq he had on, Justin Ehrenhofer, Vic Sharma. He's the creator of Cake Wallet. Sarang Noether, he's done tremendous amounts of work for Monero. All kinds of different people, right? So if you're interested in a certain topic or something, go check that out. It's interviewed all kinds of people. Third thing I want to go over is Twitter. If you're on Twitter, some good people to follow. Binary Fate. He is a main developer on Monero. He has his own Twitter account, and he posts some very interesting things quite often. Justin Ehrenhofer, XMR Halen, Brandon Goodell. This is actually Sarang Noether, so he's pretty good. Seth Simmons. I've also talked about him in some of my earlier videos. This is his blog that I went over in my last one about Bitcoin's fungibility graveyard. He posts great content on Monero, privacy, open source software, all kinds of stuff like that. So give him a follow. And then also, there's way more than these two. Like, just see who they're following, and you'll be able to see tons of different Monero people and follow them and get more tightly integrated into the community. The next one I want to go over is the Monero Community Workgroup. The Monero Community Workgroup is run by a few members of the Monero community, and they post live streams from past conferences, like here, Grey Hat, Monero Conferenzo. This has some very good stuff in it. If you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. Will warn you that some of the talks go pretty deep into the cryptography, and they might go over your head if you're not cryptographically inclined. They definitely went over my head. But there's still some talks that provide some very good information, and it's definitely worth checking out. Breaking Monero. So this is also a very good series. If you're interested in Monero's flaws, which, yes, it has flaws, it's not perfect, check out the Breaking Monero playlist, and you will learn more about how Monero can be broken, the different attack vectors, and general things like that. It's very good. So the next one I want to go over is Sweetwater Digital Asset Consulting. So this is Daniel Kim. He's put 2 presentations out about Monero, and honestly, if you haven't watched these presentations and you're into Monero, you're really doing yourself a disservice. Daniel Kim really lays it all out in a very simple manner that really shows the need for Monero in a macro view, and he does it in a very elegant way. So I would definitely check that out if you haven't seen those. Very underrated resource right here. It's really sad to me that this channel only has 600 subscribers and only about 10,000 views, so definitely check that out. Next one I would look at is the Monero Stack Exchange. So this can be a little bit more on the technical side of Monero, and sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't have to be, right? So basically what this is you can ask different questions about the software or different design decisions of Monero and things like that, and people in the Monero community will answer your question. If you have a certain question, you can just search for it. If it hasn't been posted before, then you just make a new post. Simple as that. So this is a very good resource as well that a lot of people don't know about. Another podcast I want to go into is the Why Monero podcast. This is a fairly new podcast. I've only got about 4 episodes out right now. And actually, some of the things that I talked about in my last video were mentioned in this podcast here with Howard Chu. And I think it's a very good one to give a listen to. If you speak Spanish, the El Monero podcast is very good. I wish I could speak Spanish so I could listen to all these, but I don't. So if you're a Spanish-speaking person, this is your podcast. Check it out. I'm sure that it would be refreshing to listen to some things in Spanish if everything's always in English all the time. And then the last thing I want to mention is just the Hangouts on getmonero.org. So we got Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, GitHub, MetaMask. I went over a lot of these. Different work groups are right here if you feel like contributing to Monero in any way. And then there's also IRC channels. IRC is pretty old, but there is a pretty vibrant community of Monero on there. And if you don't want to use IRC, you can also use Matrix. And there's Matrix bridges that go to IRC, so if you're on IRC, you can see what the people in Matrix are saying, and if you're on Matrix, you can see what the people on IRC are saying. So they're kind of connected now. So yeah, that's about it. Hopefully this helps you learn more about Monero, expand your knowledge base, and learn new things. So thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something.